Hello there, it's Bianca from the Closet Historian, and today I wanted to share some of my recent vintage and antique finds with all of you. So I've got a few things to show you guys today that I've been picking up recently over the past maybe month to 6 weeks kind of time period. I'm trying not to shop too much, but I have weaknesses, and so I've got some stuff to show you that I bought on Etsy, and then I do have one item that I actually bought in a physical store, which means I left the house. So the first item I have to show to you is something that I actually have changed since I bought them, and that's because these gloves were originally white gloves, and now you can see there's sort of this dark lavender color, and there's a couple of purpley spots where I didn't do the best dye job because I actually dyed these gloves. I bought a pair of size 8 gloves, which that's my glove size, and it's kind of hard to find colorful gloves in a size 8. So I bought a pair of white gloves, and I decided to try dyeing them purple because I was looking for purple gloves and I couldn't find any. So right now they're kind of a lavender color. I might try dyeing them again so they end up a darker purple. I was trying to get a really dark amethyst color, which is kind of what color my hair is, though you can not tell in this video at all. I promise my hair is like a dark plum color, and that's the color I was after with these, so obviously it didn't take as dark as I was hoping. I'm really quite new to dyeing fabric or clothes in general, so it's something I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to doing that, so I will be experimenting more with that in the future and maybe considering buying white gloves and dyeing them more often, just because it's hard to find colorful gloves in my larger glove size. So these were just a little kind of experiment, but still nice to have in my collection. I don't have this color purple, so I can have this or I can dye them again darker. Either way, purple gloves. And so the next thing I added to my collection recently was a new hat. I love hats, so it's not very hard to convince me to buy one of those. And I've been after a beaded hat, and hopefully a black beaded hat, for a while now. So I ended up getting this little number. It's sort of a flat, almost beret-ish shape with a beaded bow accent on there. And you can kind of see the pattern of the beading here. It's just black beads on black wool felt. And they have these little wire grips that are pretty common on 40s and 50s hats, and so you can just clip it on like that. I would of course add a hat pin as well because things will just slide off your hair, especially in the wind. I kind of have a system when I buy vintage accessories or plan out my wardrobe and shopping for when it comes to vintage accessories, and I try and buy them in sort of sets. Like, you're not going to find a full set of vintage accessories like a hat, gloves, handbag, shoes, belt are, I'd say, the basic ones. But you can build up a set of each. So you can buy a black belt, black shoes, black handbag, black hat, and then you can have sort of a set. So if you wear that with, like, say, a gray dress or a red suit, you have a matching set of accessories to go with those kind of outfits. You can break up the accessories, of course, and wear a different color for each accessory you're wearing, but a lot of times things were more matchy-matchy back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and they definitely, in my old catalogs, I noticed they sell them almost as sets, so they all come in the same color so that you know you're getting a very matchy set to wear with different things. So I try and add to my accessory sets. So obviously I have a lot of black accessories. That's probably the most basic kind of color of accessories that I have in my wardrobe and are really good for a vintage wardrobe to have. And so adding a black beaded hat to that was something that was on my list for a while, and so I was glad I was able to pick this one up. I think it was under $30. I'm pretty sure it was only like 25 or 28 or something like that. But I thought that was a great deal for a really nice condition beaded hat like this. It's not missing any beads, and so it was a great find for me on Etsy. So speaking of accessory sets and how I tend to collect my vintage accessories, I did pick up another handbag recently. This one's a little clutch. It's actually a bag with a long strap on the inside, but I'll just not be using the strap. I might even cut it off because it's flaking a little bit from age. So I might end up cutting that off. It's got sort of a grosgrain ribbon fabric interior on this one. It's pretty clean. It's probably from the 1980s or 90s actually, but a simple sort of fold over clutch like this in a larger shape is very 40s, and you can style it with your 40s outfits and make it look super earlier 20th century as opposed to later 20th century. And I picked this one up mostly just for the autumnal mustard yellow color. I have a pair of gloves in this color. I have some Bakelite earrings and brooches that will match this. So I try and keep my accessory, or complete my accessory sets that way, just trying to look for pieces that I am missing in a certain color and pick those up. This will be great for styling things for fall with nice warm fall autumnal leaf-hued colors, and so that's why I picked up this guy for, I think it was $10. Pretty cheap, and it'll be really fun with my fall outfits. And again, speaking of accessory sets, I was on the hunt for an off-white or a white clutch this summer, and I've been having a really hard time finding one I liked. The thing about off-white or white bags, especially clutches, is that they tend to be like evening bags or things for like to wear with your wedding dress. and like beaded and satin, and I was looking for more of an everyday or kind of fun still, but like more of an everyday style clutch. And it's of course hard to find things in more pastel colors or white or off-white that are not stained or damaged in a way that makes them look really dingy. So for me, finding a clutch in ivory or white was kind of a difficult task. And you all know how I love Plastiflex clutches, or at least if you follow my blog, you know I love a Plastiflex clutch. So when this guy popped up in off-white Plastiflex clutch, it was like all my dreams had come true, especially because it was $25, which is crazy for Plastiflex because a lot of people charge $90 for Plastiflex clutches, and I've seen them for up to $150, but most... So this is actually a traditional Japanese style umbrella, not necessarily a parasol. They are made to use in the rain. They have usually a lacquer or oiled paper finish. This one, of course, being a vintage item, I don't think I'll be using it in the rain, and I will just be using it as a parasol because I don't want to damage it, because who knows when the last time the paper was oiled, and I have no idea to know when this was made, so I don't know if it's still rain proof anymore. Opening it up, it is this lovely rusty red color inside, and they have two stops in this style of umbrella. So this one that's lower down is a bit better and sturdier in the wind and rain, and then you can open it all the way as well, and they're just so pretty. I love these umbrellas. I buy a lot of cheap, touristy, sort of probably made in China versions of parasols that are still made from bamboo, but maybe are made from like a nylon fabric as opposed to a washi paper. They're sort of more touristy items made for the tourist market or made for export, whereas umbrellas like this are more traditionally made and less made for the Western market, so they still retain a lot of traditional details and craftsmanship, which I really appreciate. And this was under $30. And under $30, that kind of price is what you can expect to pay for the touristy umbrellas. So to get a traditional umbrella actually from Japan and made with traditional materials is just so amazing for that price, and I'm happy to wait 3 weeks for it to get here from Japan so I can have the real deal. And these are just so pretty with vintage clothes in the summertime. I just think that it really sets off the look well, and of course a little extra sun protection is always welcome. So I love these umbrellas. Summer may be over, but I'm gonna keep buying parasols if they come up for sale. I don't have one in every color yet, and one day I'd like to. Now another item that's a bit unusual in the sense that it's not an accessory or clothing or anything like that is this Montgomery Ward's catalog from 1958. This is the Spring-Summer 1958 Montgomery Ward's mail order catalog. It's huge. You can buy anything from clothing to car parts in a catalog like this, or at least you could have if you lived in 1958. So it's very interesting to look at these sort of catalogs as a resource for what everyday normal people were wearing and buying back in the 50s or 40s. I have been posting scans of my 1943, Spring-Summer 1943 Montgomery Ward catalog on my blog, so I'll put a link up in a card so you guys can check out the very high resolution scans of these if you want to read what was for sale or what things were kind of cost and see the awesome images from these. I try and buy 40s catalogs more often than these 50s ones just because I'm more interested in 40s fashion, but it's just, you know, when they come up for sale, if there's a good deal on one, I'll totally snap up and get them. And these are usually around $50. Some I've seen as high as $100. I think I got this one for only like $25, $30, which is why I picked up this 50s one when I normally go for 40s ones. But if there's a deal, and I know it's going to be such a great reference not only for me, but for me to be able to share on my blog with all of you guys, I usually pick them up. That's kind of my excuse. I'm like, well, I'll get to share it with everyone, and then it's like I'm not really buying it for me, I'm buying it for all of us, and then somehow I end up buying them. So you can see how I convince myself of that. Just, you know, doing your spring-summer shopping in 1958 here. So there's just gorgeous prints, really cute suits. It's great for seeing how things were styled, so like what kinds of hats and shoes were being worn with which styles of clothing. And this is almost like, you know, a vintage styling Bible that you didn't know you needed. So I'll be scanning these and they'll be available on the blog eventually. Of course, I'm not going to scan the whole thing. We don't need to know about all the waste paper baskets for your bathroom, for example, even though they are extremely cute. Like what is this black one? It's amazing. So yeah, there's home decorating stuff. There's TV aerials, there's carpeting, there's couches. There's anything you could ever want in 1958 in this huge catalog. The scans from this one will eventually be on the blog, and so look out for those. probably in the spring. And finally, my friends, we get to the clothes, which I don't have a bunch to show you or anything like that, but I do have a couple of items that I have picked up recently. And the first you've already seen if you follow my blog, and that is this dress. It's actually the item I mentioned that I picked up in person at a store and not online. It's a 50s or early 60s dress. It's hard to say. I think it's a nylon blend of some kind, so it must be a later 50s or early 60s dress just based on the textile, I'm assuming. And it's kind of a semi-sheer, weird, like watercolory circle print, and it's a shirt-waist style, so it's got buttons in the front down to the waist, and then it's just a pleated skirt for the rest of it. Wow, it looks so gray on camera. I promise this is a like bluish gray color with purple and green, which you can hardly tell on camera here. It did come with a matching belt as well. And I don't really have many vintage dresses, and so this one really appealed to me. I was at a vintage shop actually there to sell a few things that I had bought online that weren't exactly going to fit me, or that I had. Sometimes people just, if you're the vintage person, quote unquote, like air quotes vintage person in a group of friends, sometimes people will be like, hey, I have my great aunt's stuff, and they'll just give you vintage, which is so nice, but it means you accumulate some things that aren't going to fit or aren't your style sometimes. So I actually had taken a few pieces to a vintage store down in Denver to see if I could sell them, and I ended up buying this dress, which is just typical of me. My favorite thing about it is the double collar, so you can kind of see here, it's got 2 points on the collar. And so that was just really fun. I do feel a little bit Stepford wife / dowdy when wearing this dress because I just don't normally like a pleated or gathered skirt on me. But I don't know, it's nice. It's like sort of a casual out shopping, antiquing day dress for me. So I picked it up because I don't have very many vintage dresses and I have no other excuse for buying this really. So I'll put in an image of me wearing this dress as well from the blog, and you can go over to my blog and see more images of this dress on and how I styled it over there. But this was just a fun piece, and it was only $45, which for a vintage dress in good condition is a good price, so I sprang for it. Oops. And we get to my favorite item to buy, possibly out of any vintage item to buy, and that is 1940s suiting. And I don't want to say I'm trying to collect a one in every color like their Pokemon, but I'm kind of trying to collect everyone in every color like their Pokemon. So I didn't have a gray vintage suit. I have a gray vintage suit jacket, but I don't have the skirt that matches it that I got from Fab Gabs, which is an excellent Etsy shop last year. I got this crazy sort of like mobster, huge shoulders, pinstriped suit jacket that's pretty sweet, but I don't have a skirt to match it, so I was still looking for a actual 1940s gray suit, and I finally found one. This is the 1940s gray suit I picked up recently. It's got what are called moon glow style buttons in a sort of brownish color, and so it's got buttons on the front. It has these fun little faux, see if I can get that on camera, it has these little detailed faux pockets. They're not actually a real pocket here. And then up here as well, this fun detailing and curves, and it's really cute and very nicely tailored, which I just can't sew like this. So when it comes to suiting, I just try and find them and buy them because I don't think I'll ever be able to tailor like this, like they could. So this is got like a peach lining on the inside, sort of a pinky coppery color. And the suit is in actually really good condition, so that's always nice. And it fits me perfectly, which is just a good surprise because I have bought things online before where of course they arrive and it's not a perfect fit because either the vintage seller doesn't measure with very much ease in mind. Everyone measures differently and every customer has to be careful, to be honest. So what I try and do is find suits where the skirt is listed as having a 30-inch waist, which is my waist measurement, and then the suit jacket will usually say 35, 36, which seems like it'll be way too big. But that's exactly the kind of ease that you want. So when you're looking for suits online, try and see if the skirt will fit you, and then that will tell you more about how the suit in general will fit, I find, because of course the skirt is meant to fit closer to your body than the jacket is, and if you end up having to take something in a little bit, it's better than, of course, having something arrive and be too small. So this is just a fabulous little gray suit. It's actually almost a black and white woven up very close, but of course from far away it looks gray. So it's so nice to finally have a gray suit, and I cannot wait to wear this fall. I'm sure you will see it on my blog soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this little haul today. That was some of the shopping I've been doing recently. I shouldn't be shopping as much as I am, but I did pick up a couple other things recently, so I'm sure you'll be seeing more from me soon. And if you wanted to check out those Montgomery Ward scans, make sure you go visit the blog. That way you can see the ones from the 1943 catalog I bought, and I'm sure eventually I'll have these 1958 scans up as well. So I hope you guys enjoy that kind of reference images and that kind of stuff over on the blog. So check me out over there if you want more content from me. Thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye! Don't you just love it when it stops recording in the middle of what you're trying to say?